and welcome to Ask GC Anything. It's been a long time since I've been allowed to do one of these, Ollie, so I'm a little bit rusty.
Surprised to let you back.
Well, exactly. Perhaps you could fill me in on what the gist of this show is.
You submit your questions using the hashtag TalkBack or AskGCN Training down in the comment section below, and then, well, we try our best to answer them.
Cool. So it's the same as it always has been. Brilliant. That's what I like to hear. Right, first up then, who we got? Alvaro Blanco.
Yeah, he says, in a coffee stop, which drink is best to take if you're going to continue the ride? Coffee, Coca-Cola, or any other drink with lots of sugar?
Starting with an important question.
Or even beer?
I would steer clear of alcohol for obvious reasons. But then, well, there's two things, aren't there? Firstly, whatever you like, which is a bonus. And then secondly, there are performance enhancing capabilities of these various different drinks. So for example, a really sugary Coke will give you a bit of a hit. Then you've got the caffeine element of that, and then obviously caffeine in coffee. The thing that I would watch out for are the potential pitfalls post-drink. So obviously fizzy drinks maybe make you feel a bit bloated, but mainly it's the caffeine. If you have too much caffeine, some people might find that they then need to go to the toilet very quickly afterwards, but annoyingly past the cafe where the toilet was. So just be a little bit careful, particularly with a milky coffee and then a Coke combo. That's disastrous.
Yeah, if you need some fuel, to get a sugary drink down you. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah. That wasn't talking from experience, by the way. No, definitely wasn't.
Next, we've got a question from Charlie Cushway.
He is wondering how pros warm up for a prologue or short time trial. You're our resident time trialist, Ollie.
I do enjoy a time trial.
Go on.
I do, right. So the standard warm-up is going to be around 20 minutes long. So it doesn't have to be longer than that, but it could be 30 minutes. And within that, you'd break it down. So the first sort of 15 minutes, you'd start spinning really easy and build up and increase the intensity every minute or so until you get to sort of your threshold for like the last couple of minutes. It doesn't need to be more than that. And then a lot of riders like to do sort of spin-ups to activate the muscles. So these are low resistance, high cadence drills where you spin your legs for 10 seconds really fast just to get the muscles going, and typically do 3 of these as well. And then just spin a bit more, and then make sure you finish your warm-up though, this is important, within 10 minutes of your start time. Otherwise you'll just cool down again.
Yeah, that's a really important one, that one. It's the weekly Zwift question, which is your opportunity to not only get your question on training answered by one of Zwift's coaches, but also get your hands on 3 months free subscription to Zwift, which sounds like a bonus to me. So what is this week's question, Ollie?
Well, this week's winning question comes from Steve Schilling Norcal, who says that he loves the show.
We can't take any credit for that, mate, have we? Because we've been on this for a while.
Yeah. And he says that he's been getting back into cycling after an absence, and he's loving it. And he's been using his turbo. And when he's riding on his turbo, he often uses erg mode, right? And when he's doing that, he finds that his cadence is naturally around 95 to 100 RPM.
Speedy.
But when he goes out riding in his local area, there's a lot of hills, which mean it's hard for him with the gearing that he's got to do that kind of cadence when he's putting the power out, and he's typically grinding on the hills at kind of 50 to 60 RPM. So he's wondering, should he be trying to attempt to do this kind of low cadence work on the trainer as well? And if so, what kind of workouts should he be doing to do that cadence training?
In a word, yes, absolutely. So the Zwift coaches say too, fortunately, that actually, that's super beneficial. Not only for the situations that you described, like when you're out on the road and your gears mean that you can't pedal any faster, but also actually even just building it into your normal workouts could well give you that sort of training stimulus that you need to boost your FTP and get fitter and stronger anyway. So the Zwift coaches point out that actually all the climbs that are all over various different Zwift worlds are a great way of actually replicating climbing, and I'd agree with that. So you could drop your cadence there and do those big high resistance drills. Or also, they point out that when you're actually doing structured workouts, there's an optimal cadence, like a target, when you're doing each interval. And so rather than just riding at what's comfortable, so 95 to 100, like you suggest, you can actually target those cadences specifically, and you'll find that there are some workouts in there that will actually be around low cadence work and those high resistance. So yeah, I definitely do that.
Yeah, and within Zwift, there's loads of scope to do this as well. So if you just go on a free ride in Zwift, there's like an abundance of climbs in Zwift, so you can take your pick from those and do those low cadence intervals on those climbs as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so that hopefully answers your question. If you would like to submit a question for the Ask GCN training section, then please do so using the hashtag that's on screen now.
Time now for the quickfire round.
Woo!
And we've got a first question from Darren Horrocks, who says, I have a regular road bike with clip-on tri-bars. How comparable is that to a proper TT bike? What sort of percentage loss would I expect the two, given the same sort of similar position on both, right? This is one of those how long is a piece of string questions. It's quite hard to answer it, but you are undoubtedly at a disadvantage on a road bike with clip-ons. Typically around 25 to 30 watts would be a conservative estimate at 40 kilometers an hour in terms of aero drag, just between the frame sets. But also you can often struggle to get as an aerodynamic, sustainable position on a road bike compared to a TT bike because the geometry is different.
Yeah, it's not all bad news though, is it? Because actually your body position is the most important component, and the best thing you can do to make yourself more aero is to stick a pair of clip-on tri-bars on your bike, isn't it? So yeah. On the one hand, it's pretty bad news, but on the other hand, it's not that bad. Right then, what about this one from GP? Occasionally, I wear a cycling cap under my helmet, and it feels less secure. Is it less safe to wear a casquette under my helmet when I ride? Well, I tell you what, I wear a casquette under my helmet all the time if the temperature is anything less than about 50
And you're
degrees.
still with us?
Well, yeah. I've never asked the question that is it less safe, but I suspect that given no one's ever said that it's less safe, that we're probably okay to do so. But if your helmet doesn't feel as secure, I'd check the fit on it, because mine still feels absolutely mega, even with a hat underneath it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Cool, right, next one then.
Well, yeah, I'll let you read the name of this.
Okay, Ting Xiang Shang. Thanks, mate.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hi guys, I'm planning to do a 300k ride this summer. I've never done such a long one before. The longest I've done is about 180, and I'm also gonna do this alone. So how should I prepare for the ride? What should I bring with me, and what should I do or not do during this ride? Well, as someone who's less than fresh off the back of a pretty monster weekend of some long rides, I would say firstly that you shouldn't try and train for a 300-kilometer ride. Just get really fit doing your normal riding. I think mental component is the big thing, isn't it? If you know that you're going to be out there for a long day, that's one of the key things. Pace yourself, so don't set off at your normal riding tempo. You want to make sure you pull back a bit on the climbs and maybe freewheel a bit on the descent. And then the other thing I'd say is make sure you take loads of food with you, and normal food as well as sports nutrition, because like 300 Ks of kind of gels and energy drinks, you know, it's probably not exactly what your body's craving. So, maybe some real food, like some sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah, Shang also says doing it alone, so I'd say, yeah, make sure you've got all the spares you're going to need, and probably lights as well. 300k can take a long time, especially if you end up having a mechanical or some misfortune.
Yeah, and a little battery pack as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to record it and your head unit battery dies because you've been out there for 20 hours, then yeah, that would be really annoying. So yeah, anyway, there we go. That was a quick answer to a question, wasn't it?
Quick fire round this, we're good at this.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Mr.
They'll
Ramspod.
invite us back, Ollie.
Mr. Ramspod says, in all my time cycling, I've always had an average cadence of around 88 RPM. However, after my first winter of structured indoor training using various apps, I suddenly find my cadence out on the road is higher, around 100, 105 RPM. Is this normal? Should I be concerned?
Wow. Well, there's a thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you should be concerned. The only concern would be if you start going slower. Like a high cadence is good, and if you're pedaling, you know, comfortably, then I'd say that's a good side effect, really.
I think it's fairly common that beginner cyclists have quite low cadences, and then their cadence increases as they get more experienced. You see it quite often.
Well, yeah, and also your cadence often speeds up the more power you put out as well. So it might be that you're just getting a lot fitter, and therefore your cadence is sped up. I certainly wouldn't worry about it unless suddenly you've lost 5k an hour off your average speed, in which case you might want to ask questions. But no, I think that's probably a good side effect from training indoors, if indeed that is the side effect at all.
Next question here is from David Gibbs, and he says he's curious about how the pros deal with bike sensors when they have a mechanical and they have to swap bikes. Obviously their head unit is easy enough to take on and off the bike, but when they put it on another bike, you know, what happens to the sensors on the old bike? Do they lose their ride data and their power data and that sort of thing.
Well, so your ride data will stay with your head unit, won't it? And then generally speaking, you'd make sure that your head unit is connected to both your race bike and your spare bike, wouldn't you? So that if you do have to swap, then it will automatically connect up. But in a race, it's probably not the end of the world if you lose your power data. You're more concerned about getting back in the peloton and making sure you're in the race, as we saw at Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah,
Wout van Aert.
it was pretty funny. So Wout van Aert actually took his teammate's bike at Paris-Roubaix, and it had his teammate's computer on it, and he actually did 10-minute power PB when the ride uploaded to Training Peaks on his teammate's account, because Wout van Aert's more powerful than his teammate.
Yeah, his teammate had to flag his own ride because he lent his bike to Wout van Aert.
So yeah,
Yeah, sobering, isn't it? It's one of those things actually, in the heat of the moment when you are taking a spare bike, you'll see like pros that are level-headed and cool will remember to do things like take their bottle, put it on their new bike, take their head unit off, whereas someone who's having a bit of a flap and a paddy will probably forget to do those important things.
Probably what I would do. Mike Davies says...
I can imagine you doing a bike throw.
Yeah. If Mike Davies says, if you already know your indoor FTP from another platform and you're using the same equipment, so like same trainer or power meter, and then, do you then have to go and do an FTP test in Zwift if you then switch on to Zwift? I think that's fairly easy to...
Yeah, no, your FTP is your FTP. You're right to say there's an indoor and an outdoor one, because often people find they've got a lower FTP indoors. But if you're using the same equipment indoors, then yeah.
Yeah, shouldn't make a difference.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
And the last question this week, do you want to read it?
Okay, this is from Nicholas van der Meer. My mates have laid down a hill climb challenge in around 8 weeks' time. It's 2.2 Ks at an average of 8%. I did the climb last week in a little over 11 minutes. I'm wondering what training would be best, how I structure my effort on the day. Okay. Right. And he also said, if I can do any session on my 20k commute, that would be awesome. I feel your pain there, Nicholas. My 20k commute is basically my training ground.
You do all right off it though.
Well, that's it. Use it wisely.
Yeah, so I think Nicholas can as well. I think if you can replicate a 10-minute uninterrupted effort on your commute, then that's going to be really beneficial. Ideally on a climb, but if you don't have a climb, just uninterrupted on the flat is also going to be really good, because that's the length of your target that you're trying to do. But also you should factor in that if you're, for this kind of length effort, you're going to want to be doing it above your lactate threshold. It's going to be a hard effort. So if you can also do any sort of VO2 max intervals of around 5 minutes to 10 minutes long, they're also going to be beneficial to improving your fitness for that target.
That's right. So you do those intervals and then you back off and you recover for a little bit. I'd also add in there, for if your commute's anything like mine, you'll have like short sections of road rather than nice clear ones where you can do 10-minute efforts. So over-geared standing start efforts from traffic lights are a nice little cheeky one to throw in there. And also 1-minute maxes, which are utterly brutal, but maybe 6 1-minute maxes in your 20k commute. They're not going to do anything specifically for that hill climb, but they will help you get mega fit and they will help you deal with all that lactate, because 10-minute hill climb should really, really hurt, shouldn't it, basically?
It should hurt a lot.
Yeah. And then on the day, it's just pacing, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. It's a hard skill to learn. You just have to practice. I can't say anything more than that. You have to practice what it feels like to do a 10-minute effort.
Yeah. If you're feeling like you're massively out of breath and completely gassed after 2 minutes of your 10-minute effort, you've done it wrong. So, I mean, it's going to hurt the whole way through, but it shouldn't really, really start to hurt until, I'd say, at least 5 minutes from the end.
If you're sick at the end, you've done it right.
Well, there we go. Let us know how you get on and whether you vomit at the end of your effort. No, I hope you do. You do absolutely nail it, and certainly put some of those things into practice on your commute, and you'll be absolutely fine. And actually, I've never vomed after a bike ride. Touch wood, to this day. Maybe I've never paced it right. I don't know, but. Well. I mean, I didn't actually poo myself. I stopped at a cafe.
Okay.
Yeah. We'd probably best leave it there, hadn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, that is the end of Ask GC Anything for this week. Hopefully, they'll invite us back at some point to do another one. I've certainly enjoyed answering your questions, and hopefully, we've answered them satisfactorily.
Yeah, and if you'd like to ask your questions and get them answered, then use the hashtags TalkBack or Ask GCN training. Also for a chance to win the Zwift
subscription. Yeah, that one. Right, also, if you want to watch another video right now, then do make sure you check out Chris Opie's awesome Alpe d'Huez versus Alpe du Zwift, because that, coming back to some of the questions we've answered already in this video, is very timely.